Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Life Reimagined. If you follow us on Instagram, you probably have already heard the terrible news that we had about our building permission from the Camara last week. So we wanted to do a video explaining all of this in more detail. Before we go into it, we want to do a quick recap for anyone that might be new to this channel to fill you in on the backstory of our building permit application. So about 3 years ago, we found this piece of land. We went to have a look at it and really fell in love with it and thought the idea of building a eco-tourism resort would be perfect for this piece of land. So as one of the first steps, we went to the Camara and we talked to them, explained the idea that we had and asked if they think this would be feasible here, if there would be any restrictions, any problems. And we were assured that it should generally be feasible, but were advised to do what is called a PIP, like a request for previous information.
Yeah, so the previous information would let us know exactly what we could build here, and it locks them into a legal contract, so you have 12 months then to build that, and no matter what happens, you can build within 12 months of getting that. We decided to approach the sellers who were selling the land and get a promissory contract based on a successful PIP. It was supposed to take about 3 months, but unfortunately the PIP process took over a year. And when we got the results back, it wasn't as positive as we'd hoped. The architect had not done enough car parking spaces and hadn't made a wheelchair accessible swimming pool. So they denied the PIP on these minor technicalities, but said that in a cover letter that because these are so minor, they think that the project is still feasible and we should just go ahead into full planning. So we were a bit unsure at the time whether we wanted to do this because again we wanted that legal foothold, but because the seller was waiting for us to sell the land, they put quite a lot of pressure on us. And you know, the architect and everyone was just telling us that it wasn't going to be a problem. So we just decided that, hey, look, we'll listen to the Camara and we will go ahead and purchase the land and go into full planning.
So based on all of this information, based on the word of the Camara and our architect, we ended up purchasing the land. Made the changes in the plans that were requested by the Camara and resubmitted our plans. We were told it would take about 6 months until we should get the approval, but it actually ended up being 18 months. Until then, last week, we got a letter from the Camara just flat out denying our building permit. So obviously this has come as a complete shock to us. We did not expect this. Our architects are in shock. They did not expect this. So you're probably wondering, well, what has happened?
Well, this is it. So what's happened is the fire zones have changed in the meantime. Normally what happens is when you submit the request, you are judged on the rules that exist at that point in time. And the agencies involved have 5 days to kind of feed back to the Camara to tell them, you know, what's going on the land. Now what's happened here is that the agencies weren't involved until the very end of the process.
18 months later, not
18
5
months
days
later. And in that meantime, the fire plans have been changed. In 2017, there was some really bad wildfires just north of our land in Monchique. So they've rezoned this entire land as a high fire risk in the interim period. So that now means that we can't really build anything on our land except just keep the exact ruin size that we have of 60 square metres. So this rules out the option for us now to have a turismo rural.
Yes, exactly. So we needed some time to kind of digest that information. We spoke to our architects about this. As I said, they are also very shocked about this decision because you are supposed to be judged by the rules that were in place when you submitted your plans, because obviously you cannot know all the rules that come into effect in the meantime, especially when it takes almost 2 years for them to approve or deny your plans. But apparently that hasn't happened. We submitted our plans in 2019, the rules changed in 2020, and now in 2021 we are being told that our building permit is denied based on those rules from 2020.
Yeah, we've spent a lot of money on this land in the meantime, you know. If we'd have had this news earlier, we could have saved a hell of a lot of money. We've put in, you know, the expensive borehole that you've seen. We've been terracing the land. You know, a lot of these things were done to help prevent wildfires. You know, you look around this local area and it's beautiful, but a lot of it is unkept. You know, people don't maintain the land because they can't live here. That they have no purpose to. But, you know, what we've tried to do, knowing that we've been living here, is we've tried to, you know, make sure that the barragem, the lake that we have here is full of water. We've got the borehole specifically so that if we have sprinkler systems that they can have water. We were getting it connected to electricity for that reason too. So it's really, really disappointing. We've had to process what really to do next.
Yeah, and I think we were a bit lost this last week, trying to figure out what all of this means, and what we should do next. We had a conversation with the Camara about this, explaining all of this and saying, well, you didn't judge it based on the rules that were in place when we submitted, and look at all the stuff that we've done to the land, and surely it would be much better for the land to have us living here than just let it go to ruin like all of the pieces of land around us. But unfortunately, they didn't really, they didn't really say much to that. They were just like, this is the rules and we're denying it. So at this point, we really don't have much of a choice left but then to involve lawyers. So we're currently speaking to a couple of different lawyers who we hope can maybe help us resolve this situation, going down the legal route, although that was something that we really wanted to avoid. Because I think a legal case with the Camara, it takes a lot of energy, it can take a lot of time, and we don't know if the outcome will be any different.
But yeah, if anyone else has been through a similar situation, we'd love to speak to you. We'd love to find out what happened with you, how you experienced this process, whether you were successful or not. If anyone out there watching is a lawyer or knows a lawyer that's maybe dealt with a similar issue, it'd be great to talk to you. What we've heard from our architect is that these new fire zoning laws are happening all over Portugal at the moment, and we can't be the only people that are suffering from this situation.
And that is something I think that's really important to us to get that word out there as well, because like Jack said, this is not a rule that's just come into place in this council. It's a national rule that can be interpreted differently on the local level. But because of these bad wildfires, all the local councils are now relooking at these things, rezoning land. So this is happening all over Portugal. So if you are considering to buy some land in Portugal, just make sure that you are aware what the fire regulations are currently, whether it's likely that they might change, like is the Camara currently looking at them, maybe changing them. So yeah, make sure you're really, really aware of these rules, because they can potentially jeopardize your project.
Yeah, just to go from the top, things you need to be looking out for if you're looking at buying land here is, first of all, you need to look at the PDM and make sure that you're allowed to build what you want to build there. Then go talk to the Camara. Make sure that you're not having any REN land zones or any RAN land that runs on your property, because that can also help involve this. And then also lastly, check these fire zones. I would recommend that everybody gets a PIP before buying the land and make sure it's complete. If I could go back and change one thing, it would be not trying to save those 3 months and just making sure, sticking to our guns and making sure that we got the PIP signed off. That would have got past all of these legal problems, and it would probably have meant the application would have got done quicker rather than resubmitting it under their advice.
Yeah.
But what's next for us, Hannah? What are we going to do?
Well, that's the question. Obviously, with everyone saying us, we shouldn't get our hopes up very much about opening up a legal case against the Camara. We've been thinking a lot about whether is this still what we want to do, because for a very long time now we've kind of had this focus. It's been we've putting everything in for the last 5 years, like whether it's money, energy, thoughts into this project, and it was always like on this trajectory. And for the first time, we're now starting to open up again a little bit and think, okay, is this really what we still want to do? Is this piece of land really still the best piece of land for this? Do we maybe want to do it somewhere else? Do we want to change the idea slightly? I think we keep coming back to, we still really, really like the idea, and we definitely want to do this idea. The more we look around at other pieces of land, the more we fall in love with this piece of land, and the more we realize how great this piece of land is. Prices have gone up a lot over the last 3 years here in Portugal, so buying something new would be a lot more expensive probably.
And the amount of available land has gone down a lot in Portugal with all these new fire restrictions, so it makes it a little bit more difficult to find something.
Yeah.
But overall, I've been really positive with how we've handled this. I think, we spent a little bit of time down last week, but, for me, it's made me realise how much I really want to do this project.
Yeah.
Having the opportunity that maybe gets taken away has just made me realise that this is really what I want to do. I really want this life, and I really want it to work out. So hopefully it'll work out on this land. We've still got the legal challenge, so we'll try that route. If that doesn't work out, the plans change. They get looked at every 2 to 3 years apparently. There's no guarantee they'll change in 2 or 3 years.
Or that they look at it in 2
or
or
that they'll
3
look
years.
at it. But you know, again, I'm quite happy to try to wait and see if we can find anything else that we like more than this in the meantime that's in our price range. But yeah, if not, I'm quite happy to wait it out another couple of years and see how it goes. We have quite a good life here. I'm looking forward to the summer now that we've got this all set up and looking so nice.
Yeah, I think that was the added challenge. The last 2 or 3 weeks have been very grey and rainy, so it didn't quite help with the mood. But now the sun is back, the nice days are coming, and we're really, really looking forward to that. And with this lovely patio and the outside area that we've created here, I think it's going to be a really, really good summer. So yeah, at this point, we're just kind of waiting and seeing what's going to happen.
I think what's interesting as well is we're going to be going a lot slower. And we're going to have to think a lot smarter. You know, a lot of problems before it was like, okay, we're building, we're going to be done in, we want to be done in 3 years with everything. So it was like, let's throw money at problems, let's throw everything at these problems. But now we're going slower, and we obviously don't want to invest much more money in the land. We're already having to start thinking more creatively, you know, really trying to problem solve. And I think, you know, just gradually doing things ourselves is going to make some great YouTube content.
Yeah. So yeah, stay tuned for what's happening here in the next few weeks. We obviously will keep you posted on what's happening with the building permit, and hopefully a few cool projects around the house as well.
Exactly. Let's get some chickens, that'll make us feel better.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. Feel free to leave some comments if you've got any advice. If you know anyone who might be able to give us some advice, that'd really help. But thanks for watching, and yeah, speak to you soon.
See you next time.